Hello, good evening. I'm Sriparna, ma'am. I wanted to make sure that there is now exam very nearby, and you need to do correctly the prevailing winds and the pressure belt diagram properly. So I have seen it is a common mistake of this diagram where you are first of all you are not aware that pressure belt is always drawn according to the latitude. So let's see. First we will see the pressure belt and latitudes, and then we will come back to the prevailing winds, and we will see how the direction is very much important for prevailing winds, how the Coriolis force and Ferrell's law are important for the wind blowing in northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So let us start one by one. So first I will go to this particular diagram where I will show you how pressure belt and latitudes are very important when you are drawing the diagram. So first we will see the equatorial region, and equatorial region we are seeing low pressure belt is developing because this particular region 5 degree north to 5 degree south, it is getting the direct sun rays, and that is why low pressure is created. The air mass is warming up and going up. This upward movement, because of this upward movement, the air mass is very thin or not there, so low pressure is created near the earth surface, and that is why equatorial low pressure zone is created, which is also called doldrum. And you need to remember that it is from 5 degree north to 5 degrees south. Next, we will move to the pressure belt. Since we know the prevailing wind is actually going up, and while it is going up towards pole, it is actually sinking down here. Okay, so when the similarly here also, when it is going to pole, it is sinking down here, it is losing its heat, and that is why here we are getting high pressure belt. So what kind of pressure belt it is? It is subtropical high pressure belt is created. Where it is created? Both the hemisphere 30 degree to 35 degree latitude. So here we can see 30 degree south to 35 degree south. Here we are getting subtropical pressure belt, high pressure belt. Here is high pressure belt, and again here also we are getting subtropical high pressure belt. Okay, so the same latitude we are getting, like 30 degree north to 35 degree north. It is also called horse latitude. It's also called horse latitude. There is a small story that in the previous years, when the trading was happening, that time the sailors, they used to take many horses along with them, but when the because of the high pressure, the wind was not there, and the drinking water was very much scarce at that time. Maybe 1 month or 2 months they had to wait. They used to throw their horses in this latitude because of the high pressure and prevailing winds, which is not helping the ships to move. Okay, so it is called horse latitude. Now we are coming to the next part, which latitude is very much important. We can see 60 degree north to 65 degree north, where we are getting subpolar low. So subpolar low pressure belt we are getting here. Okay, so subpolar low pressure zone also created in the southern hemisphere. So subpolar low pressure zone is created in southern hemisphere also. So 60 degrees south to 65 degrees south also we are getting in the southern hemisphere. Now we all know that the polar region is very very cold, and that is why polar high pressure is created. Here also polar high pressure we can see. Now what is the relationship of temperature and pressure? So if temperature is low, the pressure is high. Okay, if the temperature is high, then pressure will be low. So this formula, if you remember, it will be helping you to draw this without confusion. So we are getting here a polar high pressure belt because here is freezing cold and frigid zone is also there. That is why we are getting high pressure zone. And here we are getting a subpolar low pressure zone in both the hemisphere. So I hope you have understood how according to latitude you have to draw this particular pressure belt. So how many pressure belts are there? 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, and then 6, 7. So total 7 pressure belts are there in the world, and now we will see what is the relationship between pressure belt and prevailing winds. So when we are talking about prevailing winds, we need to remember 3 things. Prevailing winds are also called planetary winds. Why it is called planetary winds? We can see that the planetary winds or prevailing winds are blowing throughout the planet. But according to the latitudes. And definitely there is the relationship between the wind and pressure and temperature. Pressure and temperature, first only we got low temperature, high pressure, and high temperature, low pressure. Okay, that is why we can see in equatorial region low pressure is created. Now we are seeing, so I told 3 things we have to remember. The first thing I have told already, and that is how the pressure belt is one of the important reason when the prevailing winds we are discussing. Now we can see, we have already seen that winds blow from high pressure to low pressure region. Now this formula or this theory you have to see or apply here so that your confusion will not be there. Before that, we need to also know some direction and cardinal points, or cardinal direction or intercardinal points. So intercardinal point is northeast and southeast and southwest and northwest. And cardinal points all we know, north, south, east, west, right? So why I am telling about the cardinal points? Because we are seeing the wind is not blowing just like this, but it is deflected towards right in the northern hemisphere, and the wind is not blowing from the south directly to the north. It is already deflected towards left in the southern hemisphere. So this thing you need to know. And We already know that wind is blowing from high pressure to low pressure zone. So we are seeing the trade wind first. First, we will be discussing about trade wind, and we can see the trade wind is coming from northeast. See the northeast, it is coming from northeast. That is why in the northern hemisphere we are seeing northeast trade wind. And another theory, another very interesting formula is to remember how to remember the wind's name. Why it is not southeast? Because the wind is taking its name from where it is originated. So if it is originated in the northeastern side, then here we are getting northeast trade wind. Similarly, if the wind is originated in the southeastern place, it is wind is blowing from the southeast direction towards somewhere, then it is called southeast trade wind. Exactly here we can see northeast in the northern hemisphere and southeast trade wind in the southern hemisphere. And now I will tell you why this zone is called intertropical convergence zone, because you can see northeast trade wind and southeast trade wind both are blowing towards the low pressure region from the high pressure region. Which is the high pressure region? Where the hot latitude we have got, and where I have already told you the story, because of the high pressure the wind was not helping the ships. That means it is the high pressure region. So high pressure region is always getting lesser wind, because low pressure region is getting more wind. The wind is blowing from high pressure to low pressure region. See, we can see here. And doldrum is the another name of equatorial low pressure region, or ITCZ. ITCZ means intertropical convergence zone. So this is tropic and intertropical convergence zone. The wind is also converging here. Wind is also rushing here to occupy the low pressure zone, and that is why this is equatorial low pressure belt. And we are seeing from subpolar high pressure zone, the wind is rushing to the low pressure zone. I hope everybody is clear till this. Another thing, before going to westerlies, see southwesterlies and northwesterlies, I will go first to the polar high region to subpolar low region. We are getting easterlies. So here we are getting easterlies. The wind name is easterlies. Simply it is blowing from eastern side, so it is easterlies. So it is also called polar easterlies because it is coming from polar high to subpolar low. We all know that wind is blowing from polar high to subpolar low. Now the arrow is also showing from where it is originated. So it is originated from eastern side, so it is easterlies. It is called easterlies, and it is blowing towards west. Okay, so this is polar easterlies. Here also we are getting polar easterlies. We will write polar easterlies. Okay. So polar easterlies we are getting from the polar high region, because we all know the temperature is very low, frigid zone is there, and that is why polar high pressure belt is created in the North Pole as well as South Pole, and we are getting polar easterlies from polar high to subpolar low. Both the cases we can see the arrows are heading towards equator. See, here also it is towards equator. Okay, and it is the westerlies. The westerlies are blowing. Here it is westerlies. One very interesting fact now I will tell you. It is southwesterlies because it is blowing from the southwest side, southwesterlies, okay? And it is norwesterlies or northwesterlies. See, in the southern hemisphere, we are getting northwesterlies because it is blowing from the northwest side. And in the northern hemisphere, we are getting southwesterlies because it is blowing from southwest. So it is very interesting. Only you have to remember here you should not write northwesterlies, you should write southwesterlies. I hope it is clear why it is southwesterlies, because wind always takes its name where from it is originated, and we can see the arrowhead is the opposite side of southwesterlies. So where from wind originated? It is from southwestern side, and that is why it is called southwesterlies. And where it is blowing, southwesterlies is blowing in the north hemisphere towards the subpolar low. As we all know, the wind is deflected from high pressure to low pressure. Similarly, here also we can see the northwesterlies are blowing from the northwest side to southeast, okay, in the southern hemisphere. It is very much interesting to me, okay. And northwesterlies are when it is blowing in the southern region, and we know there are not much land masses here, so lot of sound it is creating. So in this zone, after this horse latitude, we are getting actually some latitudes which is very famous for its sound, or rather noise, okay. So 40-degree belt is having the roaring 40s. 50-degree latitude is getting furious 50s, and 60-degree, that belt we are getting screeching 60s. All are in southern hemisphere. Why it is in southern hemisphere? Because lot of land masses are there. Here less land masses are there, and the wind speed is very high, and with greater force the wind is actually blowing with high velocity, and that is why these sounds are created only in southern hemisphere. So westerlies basically makes lot of sound or noise in the southern hemisphere. Now, you can understand that why it is called those roaring 40s and furious 50s and screeching 60s, right? So I hope your now here also I told that why it is actually deflect towards right in the northern hemisphere because of the Coriolis force and Ferrel's law. What is Coriolis force? Because of the Earth's rotation, Ferrel's law, according to Ferrel's law, the wind is deflected towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. So prevailing winds and pressure belts are very much interrelated, and their movement also, the wind's movement is also very, very important, and how it is blowing only from high pressure to low pressure, why it is blowing from high pressure to low pressure. I hope the idea is completely clear to you, so that you will not lose any marks in the examination hall. You will not be nervous, you will not be confused, and you will be getting full marks. Thank you so much. Bye bye.